What is power? The government has power. Bad guys with a gun have power. I got a friend. Well, he's not my friend anymore, but I know a guy. Some gangster in Chicago. Had a brother, went to jail for murder. And his attitude was like pretty nonchalant about it, right? Saying, oh, my brother won't be in jail long because my family has money. I was like, whoa, never heard anyone with that kind of entitled attitude before in my life until I ran into this guy. And this guy wasn't like no pushover. He was a hard fucking Marine from Chicago, gangster, likes to brawl, brave dude, a lot of courage. Not the biggest guy, but he likes to scrappy dude. I met a guy, and I met this guy, and he really, that really like resonated with me. You know, I've never heard anyone talk like that. And I was wondering, like, where does he go off thinking like that? You know, like, doesn't he know we have rules and laws and shit? But I guess it's only, you know, for a certain few of us. Anyways, fast forward 10 years later, kind of like done with college a little bit. I didn't finish college. Actually, I fucked up. I just realized last month I start losing my credits. So if you don't finish your school, after 10 years, you start to lose your college credits. At least we're at the university where I'm at, where I was at. So I was a college and senior. I lost, I was a college and senior. I hit my 10-year mark last month in July. So pretty sure I'm fucked, but I really don't need it. So I'm not really stressing out over it. I kind of wish I finished it though. That's my bad. I did 4 years of college. I had a lot of fun. I just didn't finish it. I didn't even need the job. I didn't even need the degree to do anything, but it would have been nice to say I have it, right? Told my wife I'm just gonna get that shit made in the Philippines. She fucking got pissed off. Oh, some shit like, I fucking earned my degree. You're not gonna do that shit. I know a lot of people that be fucking around like that. I don't know a lot of people, but I've heard of some people that have done it, you know? I'm not trying to do that shit. When I used to check IDs in Seattle, I used to get a bunch of fake IDs, and we learned how to like discover them, and that was a trip because we were letting these kids in for a long time before we realized like, oh shit, this is a fake ID. Well, it comes with the job. We figured it out. But power, I studied power a little bit in college, not like my wife, but I get to understand it a little, right? So, political science. Funny thing about political science is I've been so ignorant to it. I never cared. I was actually in Afghanistan once, right? Smoking hash with Afghan soldiers and my interpreter because I was like a E5 on the way out, and they were already kind of like, oh, he's already done. He doesn't really care. He's checking out. He's getting. So they didn't really like put much more effort into me. They knew I was getting out. But all the younger guys, Army and Marines, were all getting hash from the Afghan soldiers. They started drug testing the Army out there. I never took a drug test in Afghanistan, but I was ready to get the fuck out. Like, I was like, if I fucking die here, I can at least, you know, try this out. I was pretty convinced I was gonna die in Afghanistan because the lieutenant I was following was just like a real go-getter, you know, and it was his first deployment, and he was just really something I wasn't like wanting to be a part of. But I worked for this guy, so I had to go everywhere he wanted to do and do whatever the fuck he wanted to do. I was in some real like hairy situations that sometimes I'm like, man, I just need to finish this shit and get the fuck out. Why are we going to do this? You know, like, it doesn't make sense to me, but all right, let's go. Let's fucking roll out. I ain't no bitch. Let's fucking do this. So I finished my job and we did it and successfully. You know, we didn't lose anyone on our team. Lost some Afghans. Sorry, guys. The army lost some dudes. Sorry, guys. But yeah, me and my team got home. Anyways, I got to college. Anyways, when I was, take it back, when I was in Afghanistan, I ended up like smoking some hash with some service members, right? I don't know if we smoked it or ate it, but I remember when I went to my main fob, because I was on a COP, a little small combat outpost, and every now and then we make it back to our fob, our fire base, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and I had a good chunk of like main effort headquarters guys there, and they started all fucking partying, and they had booze and hash everywhere, and they were kind of checked out and pissed because they weren't like getting to get the chance to get after it, you know, and like see some cool shit. So they were partying, and then they were telling me how it works. They're like, yeah, dude, the interpreters, they'll hook you up like through the network, you know. And so I was like, okay, because I got a lot of time with the interpreters. We call them Tajiman. They translate for us, right? And then after so many years, they can get a visa to America or the UK or wherever the fuck they want to go, I guess, for helping. But yeah, they're like the Tajimans. And they told me some names of the Tajimans because we would rotate them out, our Tajimans, from our COP. And the main of them, like there's like 5 of them on the FOB, and we had one on our COP. And every week they get to go back to their COP. Shit, my interpreter got shot on the ass, and he was crying on the ground, and my boss, my gunny, was teasing him and shit. He's like, get the fuck up, bitch, like that's just a little wound, like a little nick, you know. And I kind of felt bad for the guy, you know, because none of us got fucking hit like that. And he's like, no, I'm done. I want to go back to Medellin. So we let him sleep in the bed, you know, for a couple of days, and before we brought him back. But he refused to go on mission after that, you know. And I was like, I get it, you know. I'm not gonna argue with you guys. I'm just gonna go wait over here. But my interpreter got shot in the ass, and no one wanted to fucking give a shit. They were like, let's go. We need to go on mission, bitch. And I was like, is this guy gonna go? He didn't go. He was a bitch. He's like, fuck that. We replaced his ass real quick, and I forgot about that. Yeah, my interpreter got shot in the ass. Anyways, the interpreters were like the gateway into like the hash, right? So once I gained up the confidence to just say fuck it, and I want to try it. So I talked to my interpreters on the side, and I was like, yo, what's the deal, man? I heard you guys there are really good and got some really good hash out here. And he looked at me with a big like, Sergeant, you smoke hashish? I was like, not really, but I'll try it out. I'm down. Let's try it out. Okay, tonight we go up to 2nd platoon, and we'll get together. I'm like, okay, cool. So I told my team, I was like, yo, I'm gonna patrol around the towers, the guard towers, and check on the guys. So I wandered around. Every now and then I do this, you know, go hang out with them for like an hour and just watch them, shoot the shit with them, see what they're up to. These guys are cool. They weren't like high speed, you know, go best of the best Afghan, but they were real believers, like some of them. But some of them were fucking Taliban, no doubt. So we couldn't really I never really trusted them. My gunny trusted them way too much. But he fucking let that interpreter get shot in the ass and wanted to still take him on missions a couple of days later. It was actually kind of funny to me. Don't get mad if my sense of humor offends you. I'm just being me. So yeah, I get linked up with these Afghans, and we go up to the second platoon, and they break out this big ball of hash, and all the Afghan soldiers that I've been there teaching and training, they come out. The fucking commander of the Afghan company I'm fucking training comes out with his XO, and they're all up there. Bro, they got a big ball of hash, and they're going to town, breaking it up. They're breaking down their cigarettes, the tobacco, and they're mixing the hash into the tobacco, and then they repack it into their cigarette, and then they just smoke and pass it around. And I hit that a couple times, and I was fucking lit, because I haven't touched any drugs in like 5 years or something like that. And I was in Afghanistan, and I was like, fuck this. I'm not gonna go AWOL. I'm not gonna leave my team like that. I'm not gonna do that shit. But fuck, man, like I need to take something off my fucking the edge. I'm already kind of like saying fuck this. And I was out there right shortly before that soldier walked out of his fob and started executing a whole village. Like a lot of that can happen anywhere where there's a group of soldiers. One soldier can go in there and do that kind of damage. That motherfucker just flipped. And they were talking about mefloquine and how that was giving us it was an anti-malarial pill called mefloquine. And it was giving us all fucking nightmares and weird dreams. Like I actually had a nightmare that I saw my dad in Afghanistan, and he got out of his truck and I shot him, and I was like, what the fuck does that? Like, and that was a mefloquine dream, and I was like, man. And my dad, my real dad, because I have a stepdad, he's a badass motherfucker, Vietnam vet. But my real dad is he's a badass too, but he's a soldier, lifelong soldier. He ended up being in a reserve unit out of Hawaii. The headquarters out of Hawaii. He was in a reserve unit, and I ran into them I ran into my dad in Kuwait. So he was a reserve infantry unit out of Hawaii, and they were in Kuwait, but they did the security going in and out of Iraq for like the convoys and resupplies and all that. So when I was transiting from my R&R, because they gave me a couple of days R&R, I went somewhere. I was going through these camps. These are these big bases, right? And I was going through Kuwait, and I was walking through. I saw a Guam flag or something, a Samoan flag. They're all these islands are under Hawaii. I saw one of these flags. It clicked in my head that my dad was here because he's part of these guys. That's part of the unit. So I went around looking for him, but I couldn't find him this time. I ran into his boss, and they said he's on another base down the street, but he comes and goes up here. So I was like, okay. So I found him a couple days later on that base in the phone center, and that was a legit fucking experience. And I got to see my real dad in Kuwait when I was like leaving Afghanistan. I'm sorry. When I was on R&R, I went to seek him out. I couldn't find him. But when I was leaving Afghanistan, I found him in Kuwait. When I was with the advance party to leave Afghanistan, I was with the like all the officers and headquarters element. I think they were our headquarters element. They were leaving early, like a couple weeks early, like the advance party. And I didn't really know these guys, and I knew one of them, and there was like 30 of them, and they just threw me in with them. They're like, okay, you're gonna go back with the advance party to back home, because I was getting out. I was supposed to re-enlist in Afghanistan. Sweet re-enlistment package. They were gonna give me a nice fat wad of money, like 80K, a lap move, and a chance to indoc for reconnaissance and go that path. But I said, fuck it. And I burned the package out in Afghanistan, and I'm going home. And so they thought I was going to re-enlist out in Afghanistan. And they're like, what the fuck? So they had to like move things around for me to go back with the advance party, because they expected me to like stay there and make this a life. I was there. I was like, I'm not making this a life. Fuck this. I'm getting the fuck out. But yeah, we were smoking hash. I got linked up with the Afghans. I smoked some hash, and these guys, they opened up about it, and they were talking about all kinds of shit that they would never talk to us about. But like once I smoked with them, it really like loosened them up around me, and they kind of trusted me more. And that's when I realized, like, oh man, you think you know something, but you don't know. Like, me and my team are here doing something, and my lieutenant's trying to save the world. My gunny's just a fucking bad motherfucker, like ready to kill someone. And I'm like, I'm with you, Gunny, but like, why are we driving around looking for IEDs? You know, like, what the fuck are we doing that for? That don't make sense to me. Fuck, man. But it is what it is. Anyways, I smoked some hash with the Afghans. The commander's like, tell Lieutenant to stay away from my hooch. I don't want to talk to him no more. I don't like him. Comes to my hooch, I'm gonna shoot him. And I didn't think much of it, you know, but I got kind of a little worried in the room that I was in. But I had some weapons on me, and it could have went down, but it didn't. You know, like my interpreter was like, it's cool. He's just telling you he doesn't like his style, you know, because my lieutenant was a real square. Like, he came into our hooch once after he left these guys, and he's all mad. He's like, those guys, I went there to go and do some planning with them and go over some maps, and they're smoking hashish. I went to college. I know what it smells like. And I was like, oh shit, this guy's freaking offended that they're smoking hash. Oh no, I mean, we all knew they were on hash. Like, we all got briefed on that shit, but I didn't really, like, we didn't see it till I sought it out. After I asked them, after that incident with the Tajimans and the Afghan commander and the whole fucking second platoon out of this Afghan company I was training, right? Because there's only a team of 4 of us. There was a team of 5 of us, but one of us, our guys got stuck back in the fob. But there was a team of 4 of us training we're embedded into this Afghan company, and we're there to train them. And we have an army platoon. We have 2 army platoons rotating out, doing their thing. And we kind of like liaison between the army and the Afghan army. So like we help smooth things out for them, but it's a real gaggle fuck. Anyways, after I went and told my lieutenant that, he was kind of nervous and freaking out and didn't want to go see them for a couple of days. And it got kind of, you know, they made a big deal out of that. But I just smoking my joint, like thinking like, yeah, I know any one of you guys can fucking snap anytime. You know, I don't really trust most of you guys. But when I told my lieutenant that, he was really like, that took his operation back down a couple like weeks. You know, he kind of was like, oh shit, I better calm down. He changed his kind of like tone towards those guys once I told him that. And they only told me that shit because I was smoking hash up there, and they got kind of comfortable, you know. And I was like, all right, but they were not Taliban. The guys in that room, they were, I don't know, but the guys I was talking to, they were real Masood. Masood's the Israel intelligence. There was a real badass Afghan hero that fought against the Russians and the Mujahideen, and they had his picture up everywhere. And some of these officers were fighters with this guy. And there's real history. If you go back to the 80s and 90s era of those wars, the Mujahideen, those guys are freedom fighters, and they were allies of ours fighting the Russians. I was working with some of these older guys that were now like commanding Afghan units and trying to fight the Taliban. But no one was fighting the Taliban. The Taliban, my Afghan interpreter told me after we got hashed out, he's like, yeah, Osama bin Laden is in Pakistan. Everyone knows that. Even your own government knows that. And I was like whatever, man, I don't fucking know. And then he told me this cool story about political science, right? Like, he's like, I want to go to America after I'm done with my obligation here. And he was a real weasel, like guy before I met him. You know, like a lot of my Marines didn't like him. They hated him. They thought he was a little bitch. But I gave him a chance, you know, because I try to give everyone a chance. But after I smoked with this guy, he opened up and he's like, yeah, I want to go to America and I want to study political science. And I look at him and I'm like, dang, that sounds fancy. You know, I was a young 20-year-old guy. I didn't know what the fuck that was. Political science, huh? And he's like, yeah, I want to do that and come back and I want to become a governor in my country. And he's like, because the politicians in my country are the biggest gangsters. And I was like, bro, this guy has fucking dreams, you know, like, wow. But I mean, if this guy's gonna be leading, you know, some gangs out there in Afghanistan, I can see him being a ruthless fucking gangster. Like if they gave this guy that kind of power, he was smarter than some of those other ones. But if this guy got that kind of power, if he ever made that happen, that's somebody you got to watch out for. But I don't know what happened to any of those guys. I can't imagine many good things happen to all the Afghans that helped us out there. Once Biden pulled out and the Taliban came back in, I heard it was like Vietnam all over again, where they were going door to door hunting you, you know, like the people know who was helping who, and it can't be good for those guys, man. I feel bad, like, thinking about it. Afghanistan was a beautiful country. It was real beautiful. The mountains were amazing. I talk to people back home about Afghanistan and Iraq, and they think Afghanistan is just like Iraq, you know, like just full of sand. It's a big desert. I'm like, what the fuck? Bro, I wish, like, shit, that would have been a different experience. Like, Afghanistan's mountains were fucking pretty harsh. Oh man, we're like 10,000 feet elevation, and it took like months for the platoons to get acclimatized to just even patrolling in this motherfucker. I'm sure the mountain division, the 10 mountain, and those guys can do it no problem. But the unit I was working with, they weren't too accustomed to that. They were hurting. They were hurting pretty good. I mean, I was hurting too, but I'll be like up a hill, because I walk point as point man. And then I got some Afghans like kind of embedded in our patrol, and then the army's like back there somewhere. We all got radios and comm, and we talk. But I walked point, so like I didn't really get to ever see people in front of me. I always had to, like, you know, do my little walk around, turn around, 360, and get a glimpse of where my direction and my surroundings. And I don't remember. I just remember walking a lot in Afghanistan and thinking I'm fucking sniper bait no matter what, you know, like I was an RTO and that sniper bait as fuck. And then when I was in Afghanistan, I was walking point. I was like, damn, this is kind of sketch, you know, walking around like this, you know, like out in the open, like, oh. But you're just doing your thing. You get numb to it and just like, fuck it. Please, someone just test me. Like, whatever. Let's just end the day with a bang. You know, whatever. I got so complacent out there, though. I was already checked out. I was walking around with my rifle with one hand, just fucking wandering around, getting my lieutenant in my ear, fucking pick up your fucking rifle. Oh, yeah, that's some boot shit, you know. Yeah, you're right. Don't mean I wasn't fucking irritated as fuck and ready to get the fuck out of there. But yeah, this Afghan, he wanted to go and study political science. Never heard of this. I didn't really understand what he was talking about, but he wanted to be a politician. I know that's what they do. They go and study. They get smart. And then I left Afghanistan like 2-3 weeks before my team did. Well, that's what happened. Our replacements came in. Another team of Marines came to replace us, and I was able to leave when they got there because we had extra hands, and I was able to go, and I said my goodbyes to them, and I just got on a helicopter and split. I never looked back. I did see my gunny when he came back right before I left, like because I got back and I checked out of my unit, and I got back to my unit. They were cool. They were so cool. I got up to the S3, and they're like, I went to report back to the S3 because that's where I left off from, and they're like, yeah, man, just call me every morning and let me know you're alive and enjoy the rest of your day. I was like, real gunny? And I'm talking to my gunner, my new gunny that I never met or knew until I got back. And then he's like, yeah, we got this. So because before I left S3, they were shorthanded, and I had to train up a bunch of guys, and then I got to leave. But I was like wondering, like, I know they got it, but I felt kind of bad leaving my boots, you know. I felt kind of like a dad leaving his kids, you know. I don't want to, but you guys got to do it anyways. So I did it. I trained them. I came back, and they're like, yeah, man, just call me every morning. Let me know you're okay. I said, all right, cool. So I would do that. And I started checking out of my unit, get home at lunch or to the barracks at lunch, and start drinking a little bit, eating more fucking gross food that I haven't had for a while, you know, pizzas and Taco Bell and all that shit. All my friends were gone out of my barracks. They're all gone. I knew some cats in the barracks because they were boots when I left, but when I got back, they were kind of like salty already, and they're running things, and I didn't really have to do anything. So it was like, oh man, like all my friends are moved on with their lives, and it's time for me to do that, you know. And I did that. Like I split. Yet I had to go to Pendleton. I went to Camp Pendleton for like 2 weeks. I checked out of the Marine Corps. And I checked out of my unit, then I went to Camp Pendleton, checked out of the Marine Corps. And then, I went up to Oregon. A Marine buddy had a place in Oregon. He invited me up. Another buddy was staying with him, and we hung out for a month. Then I ended up leaving those guys. Ended up in college. And I started dating this girl. She changed my life. A super smart woman. One of the best people I know. And I gave her a hard time. And it wasn't anything against her, but I was dealing with some shit. Leaving the Marine Corps. I left the Marine Corps. So I left Afghanistan in August. I was separated out of the Marine Corps in September. I never did no like post-health assessments or anything like that. I just checked out, got my terminal. I was ready to go. I was like, I'm done. I want to go do something else. Maybe a poor college student in college or something. So that's what I did. I went to college. I was looking at colleges in the States where my friends were at, and I went with the place where they paid me the most. That's what my plan was, right? Because they pay you for the zip code of your college. So I was like looking at SF, New York, LA, and I ended up in Guam. And he gave me $2,500 a month in Guam to go to school for just BAH. So that was sweet. Plus books, everything else. So yeah, I got to college, right? And I didn't know shit about college, but I knew whatever it was gonna be, it was gonna be easier than whatever the fuck I was just doing, right? In the Marine Corps. So I signed up for college. I didn't even know what to do, how to sign up. They gave me a course catalog. I read it. My lady helped me like pick my classes. And she picked a fucking political science class for me, an intro class. And I was like, all right, okay, let me do this. So I took like 5 or 6 classes my first semester in college, and Intro to Poli-Sci was one of them, and it was one of the best fucking things I ever did, man. Like that course, and my professor was a badass. He was a fucking retired Navy intel officer and worked for the CIA. He was an advisor to some of the Bush administration, and he was like a Russian German. He was a character, and he was a big dork, man. Came in with his cup of coffee, always got coffee stains on him, but I'm like, this guy's something else, huh? This is a different kind of level here. So he was a stud in my book, you know, and everybody thought he was so boring, so they couldn't really stand him. But I would sit in his class and I would listen to him talk, and he broke it down Barney style, my style, and I was happy with it. And I decided to minor in political science because I was gonna major in it, but everyone started giving me shit about it, like, oh, we're gonna do that, blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't fucking know, but I like it. I'll minor in it. All right, let me just minor in it. So I majored in business, like marketing and entrepreneurship, and then I minored in poli-sci, and it was cool, man. I couldn't believe what I didn't know, you know. Political science is a big game of power, authority, and justice. Politics. That's all it is who gets what, when, and where, why, what, how, whatever. That's politics. Power, authority, and justice. The government has the power to take your life. They also have the authority, and it's justified. That's the government. A bad guy with a gun to your face has the power to take your life, but he doesn't have the authority to do that, and it won't be justified. And then it goes from there. It grows and gets philosophical, and you get to see history, set some examples, and it's all based around power. Now, I also read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and money is power as well. Money is freedom. And I used to be really bad about money and negligent, and I had to learn some things. But I feel like it's kind of too late for me, so I want to set my kids up the best way I can. And I realize, like, you can't really just give them, you have to teach them if you want to really, like, help them. I had to learn that the hard way. I'm breaking some habits with my kids. They eat too much candy and junk food and shit. I've been nurturing them, and I've been watching them, right? I watch them a lot. My wife goes to work, and I've been kind of like nurturing them too much, where I'm in this phase now where I'm gonna let them do it on their own. It's one of the best things that has ever happened to me. Family's everything. Thanks for joining me on this talk. Morning coffee and a smoke in the morning really has been helping my day out, right? I used to spend a lot of time online, wasting my time. But now this camera video idea thing is kind of like free therapy, you know. I don't mind talking to this camera and talking to you people, and I appreciate the feedback. I know my videos are getting out to you guys. I know people are seeing them because you're talking to me. I didn't realize I'd kind of enjoy this, you know, but it's actually, I feel like it's better for me than what I've been doing online. And I took it as like a level up, you know, like a part of growth. I'm gonna be having more fun with my kids this way too, recording them and watching them do things, and hopefully one day they'll get to watch these things. I hope you two don't get crashed or anything like that, or sold, because I'm kind of like putting it all into YouTube. I was putting it on Facebook in like a private album, but I don't know if Facebook's gonna be around very long either. I mean, I had a MySpace account with some shit on it. I don't know what any of that is, and I really wish I did. I know I got some great memories on that thing. But yeah, political science, power, authority, and justice, money. That shit all matters in life. Credit. Don't limit your mind. Go out of your way and learn. Take the time to learn these things, because no one's gonna teach this to you. You don't learn this shit in high school, in grammar school. There's a whole game out there being played. You're playing it and you don't even know it. So it behooves you to learn these things. Talk more again. Thank you.